At 2 o'clock in the morning, Lissa Constance, iron-spined, razor-voiced, immaculate CEO of Buxton Industries, did something she had never done before in her life. She followed one of her employees. Not an executive, not a department head, not someone with a corner office or a six-figure salary. A janitor. A poor, quiet, unassuming janitor named Archibald Flynn. For weeks, she had watched him from her frosted glass office on the 32nd floor, analyzing him with the same cold calculation she applied to financial forecasts and acquisition reports. Every night, precisely at 2:15 a.m., he left the building with a suspiciously heavy backpack and an expression she couldn't quite decipher, something between exhaustion and guarded purpose. And for a woman who believed in control more than kindness, who believed that secrets were threats, his behavior was unacceptable. So she followed him. The Buxton Industries tower loomed over the winter skyline like a monument to power. Steel bones, glass skin, and no heart. Its reflective surface cast back the city in shards of colorless ambition. Inside its upper floors, Lissa Constance sat behind her mahogany desk. Stylized and immaculate, her blonde hair swept into a severe twist, her red V-neck dress fitting her like ceremonial armor. She was beautiful, but in the way a glacier was beautiful, brilliant, cold, untouchable. At 34, she was the youngest CEO in Buxton's history, the product of old money and older expectations. She had been raised by marble hallways and formal dinners, by tutors who taught her languages she never used, and a father who taught her a single rule she used every day: trust no one beneath you. They always want something. She had lived by that rule. She had built her empire by that rule, and she had lost pieces of herself because of it. Employees were spreadsheets with legs. Departments were gears. People were replaceable parts in a company machine. Down in the basement, however, Archibald Flynn took none of her attention, only her suspicion. Archie was 36, tall and broad-shouldered, with warm brown eyes and callous hands. His janitor's uniform never quite fit him, as though life had stuffed a brilliant man into a role that didn't suit his frame. And in truth, it hadn't. He had once been someone the world fought to hire. MIT trained. A mechanical engineer who wrote his thesis on integrated system resilience models. He had consulted on aerospace designs. He had walked the halls of NASA. He had received a job offer from SpaceX. Then Callista got sick. Ovarian cancer. Stage 4. And everything, every dream, every plan, every dollar, collapsed under the weight of hospital bills and final promises. He sold their house, quit his career, pawned his wedding ring. And when she died, she left with the only thing she truly valued: 5 foster children who would otherwise be scattered into a system that didn't care whether they grew or broke or vanished. Gwen, Audrey, Beatrix, Lissa the younger, and Matilda. 5 children. 5 souls with no one else in the world. So Archie became a janitor, not because he lacked skill, but because he needed weekly cash. He needed anonymity. He needed a job that didn't require background checks or explanations for why a world-class engineer was scrubbing floors in a corporate building. He worked night shifts. He slept little. He spent every dollar on the children. And every night after work, he disappeared into an old warehouse where he repaired discarded machines, computers, radios, bicycles, teaching the children how to rebuild things the world had thrown away, because he understood what it felt like to be thrown away. Lissa noticed him 3 weeks before she decided to follow him. She had stayed late reviewing quarterly losses when she spotted him entering the restricted server room, an area no janitor should ever step into. From the shadows, she watched him dismantle a circuit board, diagnose a failing capacitor, and repair the system in under 4 minutes. IT took credit for the fix the next morning. Still, she noticed his precision tools, his confident movements, the strange consistency of his nightly departure. She noticed that the board, the same board ready to oust her at the slightest mistake, wanted layoff and blood sacrifices to justify their own failures. Archie became a convenient target. If she could catch him stealing, sabotaging, selling secrets, anything, she could throw him to board like meat to wolves and prove her own vigilance. So on a freezing Thursday night in January, she traded her designer heels for boots, her red dress for a black turtleneck, tied her hair back, and slipped into the shadows after him. Archie moved quickly through the sleeping streets, heading deeper into the industrial district. Rusted trucks lined the sidewalks. Graffiti-stained concrete walls. Cracked windows stared like hollow eyes. Lissa's breath turned to crystals in the air as she followed, pulse hammering, torn between fear, adrenaline, and something else she didn't yet recognize. He stopped at the Riverside Storage Warehouse, an abandoned building with a leaning sign and a broken fence. Lissa crouched behind a dumpster as he pulled out a handmade key and slipped inside. She waited 60 seconds. Then she moved, pressed her palms against the wood, pushed the door open a crack, looked inside, and the cold around her dissolved. The warehouse was warm, soft, human. Electric heaters hummed in a circle, pushing back the winter chill. Cots lined the far wall, 5 small beds with mismatched quilts. 5 small children slept peacefully, curled beneath blankets. And in the middle of the room, surrounded by broken machines and faint orange light from a soldering iron, Archie knelt, working, teaching, saving. A little girl woke up, a messy-haired 9-year-old with sleepy eyes, and rushed him. "Uncle Archie, you're back." He embraced her gently, brushing her hair behind her ear as though she were the most precious thing in the world. And Lissa Constance felt something inside her crack. Something she didn't know was still capable of breaking. She tried to slip away, tried to retreat into the comfort of her icy detachment, but her boot crunched on an aluminum can, and the sound tore through the warehouse like a bullet. Archie spun, flashlight in hand, and threw open the door. The beam hit her. Recognition followed. Disappointment filled his eyes. "You followed me," he said quietly, not with fear, not with anger, with sorrow, with understanding of exactly who she had been, and who she still was. Inside, under the warm glow of salvage lamps, Archie told her everything. About Callista, her death, the children, the promise, the machines he fixed each night just to keep them fed. And then he said the words that shattered her completely. The poverty that matters isn't money. It's when someone looks down instead of across. Lissa Constance, who had never bowed to anyone, lowered her head and felt tears sting the corners of her eyes. She apologized. He didn't forgive her. Not yet. He simply let her leave with the truth heavy in her chest like a stone she couldn't put down. 1 week later, the crisis hit. The building's heat system failed. The network crashed. Chaos exploded across Buxton's 32 floors. IT flailed. Oliver Dermott, the arrogant, polished head of technical operations, postured uselessly, and the board sharpened their knives. Lissa was about to lose everything, until she made a choice she had never made before. She called Archie. Within minutes, he diagnosed a cascading hardware failure that Oliver's team had completely misinterpreted. In under half an hour, he repaired the system and restored the building. Lissa watched him, a strange warmth forming in her chest. Respect, admiration, something deeper she didn't name. But Oliver Dermott watched too, and his eyes filled with a different emotion, hatred. 2 days later, Oliver framed Archie, a sabotage allegation, edited security footage, fabricated evidence. The board bought it instantly. But Lissa, who had once trusted nothing but numbers, trusted her instincts. She reviewed the unedited footage with an external consultant and uncovered the truth. Oliver had sabotaged the systems himself. He had triggered alarms, staged incidents, and captured Archie responding to the problems Oliver created. Worse, Oliver had been stealing company data for months. The next morning, in front of the entire board, Lissa exposed him, fired him, filed criminal charges. And then, for the first time since she inherited her CEO title, she did something that wasn't strategic or self-serving. She went back to the warehouse, back to the children, back to Archie, and she bowed her head. "I was wrong, and I want to help, if you'll allow me." And thus began the first fracture in the walls she had built her entire life, and the beginning of something entirely new. Archie studied her for a long moment, the weight of years and broken trust reflected in his brown eyes. Then he nodded slightly and stepped aside. Lissa entered the warm, makeshift home, feeling the soft hum of electric heaters and the faint aroma of second-hand blankets and repaired wood. The children's eyes tracked her, wary, suspicious, protective of their Uncle Archie. She didn't blame them. She had once been the woman who'd spied on him, poised to condemn him before knowing a single truth. "I want to help," she said again, softer now, letting the words carry the sincerity she hadn't known she could summon. Archie gestured to a wooden crate with thin cushion. "Sit. It's cold outside. You can talk here." She obeyed, sitting cautiously, her gaze flicking to the sleeping children, the broken but lovingly repaired machines, and the tools scattered across the warehouse floor. Her name was Callista, Archie began, his voice distant, measured but heavy with emotion. She was a foster mother, a woman who took in the children nobody else wanted. Sick ones, scared ones, broken ones, she loved them all like they were her own. And then she got sick herself. Cancer. Stage 4. By the time it was caught, it was too late. Lissa swallowed. Words caught in her throat. "I was an engineer," Archie continued, voice roughening. "Top of my field. But when she needed me, I quit everything. Spent everything we had. And when she died, I had nothing left except a promise. A promise to take care of her kids. 5 little souls that no one else would fight for. I took the first job I could get that paid weekly cash. Anonymous. And at night, I fix broken things, machines, computers, bicycles. Anything that allows these children to survive, to learn, to grow." He gestured to the sleeping forms. "These kids are my world, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect them." Lissa felt her chest tighten. Every principle she had built her life on, control, suspicion, hierarchy, crumbled in that moment. She realized the truth. Her wealth, her position, her power, none of it measured human worth. Archie's life, his sacrifices, and the devotion he showed were immeasurable. I judged you," she whispered. "I thought you were untrustworthy. I wanted to use you. Her voice broke. "I was wrong." Archie's expression softened slightly, though his eyes remained guarded. Lissa continued. "Oliver Dermott, he tried to frame you. He tried to make you a scapegoat. But I saw the truth. I've taken action. You're cleared, and if you want, you have a real position waiting for you at Buxton Industries. Proper pay, recognition, everything you deserve." Archie shook his head, a small, incredulous smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "I don't need a position. These kids, they need me, and they've had enough people looking down on them. Don't mistake my silence for weakness. We're doing fine." Lissa reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. "This is from me, my personal account. Rent, supplies, everything you need to turn this warehouse into a proper home, a real classroom, computers, heating, beds, a space for learning and growing. No strings, no publicity, just help." Trembling, Archie accepted the envelope. When he saw the amount, his eyes glistened with tears. "Lissa, I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything yet," she replied gently. "Let me prove it. Let me earn your trust and theirs." The children watched cautiously. Gwen, the eldest, 12, sharp-eyed and cautious, finally spoke. "Why should we trust you? You wanted to hurt Uncle Archie. You spied on him. You can't just show up and expect forgiveness." Lissa nodded, honest and humble. "You're right. Not yet, but I'm asking for a chance to try. Please." Beat by beat, moment by moment, Archie considered her, then finally nodded. "We'll see," he said, and Lissa felt a small but real victory bloom in her chest. Over the next 6 weeks, the warehouse transformed. Walls were rebuilt and insulated. Brand new heating systems replaced salvage units. Desks, bookshelves, computers, and learning materials arrived. A proper classroom emerged, designed to nurture minds, hearts, and dreams. Lissa visited every evening. She didn't just supervise, she worked. She painted walls alongside Archie, assembled shelves, learned the children's names, their fears, and their hopes. Gwen wanted to be a doctor. Audrey loved mathematics. Beatrix had an artist's soul. The younger Lissa was a language prodigy. And Matilda, she believed in magic. Bit by bit, trust grew. Bit by bit, walls broke down. Lissa learned humility. Archie learned that some people could change. The dedication ceremony for the Flynn and Friends Learning Center arrived on a bright March morning. Hand-painted banners hung from the rafters. Paper flowers swayed gently. Drawings and artwork covered every wall. The children's excitement filled the warehouse, laughter and squeals bouncing off the walls like sunlight. Lissa entered, wearing jeans and a sweater, her hair loose and unguarded. She was no longer a CEO here, just a person, offering what she could. Archie stood in the center, smiling broadly, eyes shining. Gwen shyly approached Lissa with a card. "We made something for you," she said. Inside, in careful handwriting, it read, "Thank you for seeing us. Love, the Flynn family." Even little Matilda had signed, a scribble heart representing her effort. Lissa's throat tightened. "Thank you," she whispered. "This means more than you know." As evening fell, they gathered around a reclaimed wooden table. Spaghetti steamed on mismatched plates. Children chattered about their new classroom, books, and computers. Archie nodded at Lissa. "Sit, if you want to." She did. And as they ate, Matilda leaned forward and said thoughtfully, "I think I was broken. I've been broken a long time, so focused on surviving that I forgot how to live." Archie looked at her gently. "We're all broken. Life breaks everyone eventually. But what matters is what we do afterward. Do we stay broken, or do we let ourselves be fixed? What fixes us?" Lissa asked quietly. "Other people. Connection. Love," Archie said. "The same things that break us can heal us if we let them." And there, in the soft glow of a warehouse turned home, two adults, one CEO and janitor, one suspicion and judgment, stood side by side. Friends, partners, guardians, healers. Outside, the first warm breeze of spring stirred the air. Inside, children slept in real beds, dreaming of futures that had once seemed impossible. And Lissa, glancing at Archie, realized she saw him for the first time. Not a janitor, not an engineer, not a title, just a man, a human being. "Same time next Saturday?" she asked softly. Archie smiled. "Same time. The kids will be disappointed if you don't show up." "Just the kids?" she teased, a warmth rising in her chest. "No, not just the kids," he said, grinning. And for the first time in years, Lissa Constance felt whole. Not perfect, not unbroken, but human, and enough. At 2:00 in the morning, a CEO had seen the truth. By March, she had begun to live it. And the children, the man who had always known how to love, and the woman who had once judged everything by wealth and title, began to heal. One day at a time, one act of kindness at a time, one human connection at a time. The warehouse, once cold and abandoned, was alive. And so were they all.